Time now for our political insiders. Tony May and Charlie Giroux join us here in the studio. Guys, as always, thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
Disclosure first.
Quantum Communications, where I serve as CEO, is a public relations, public policy, and issue advocacy firm here in Harrisburg. We represent, among other things, the Republican Party of Pennsylvania and the Tom Corbett for Governor campaign, but the views I express here are my own.
And Tony.
I'm a partner in Triad Strategies, a public affairs firm based here in Harrisburg with offices in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. We're a bipartisan firm, but I happen to be one of the Democratic partners, and I have a long track record with the Democratic Party.
Yes, you do.
All right, guys, thank you. Let's begin with ISIS. The terror group posted a video just today showing the beheading of American journalist Steven Sotloff. This is the second U.S. journalist to be executed in a matter of weeks. ISIS titled this message a second message to America, saying that just as your missiles continue to strike our people, our knives will continue to strike yours. What does this do for the Obama administration? Are things going to be moved forward now with our intervention, or do you think it's going to scale back?
Well, sadly, Tanya, it points up that there really is, as the president himself conceded last week, no strategy. And that's what's really terrible here. You heard several words used in that previous piece: weakness, lack of vision. Even Dianne Feinstein, a key Democrat, saying he's overly cautious. The president expressed outrage, true outrage. I think he was really angry after the previous beheading by these brutal thugs. And unfortunately, nothing happened after that. I don't know that we have to commit, quote-unquote, boots to the ground. Tony and I have both expressed a lot of caution about that. Frankly, I think some of our allies in Europe, where these terrorists are coming from, more than they're coming from here, ought to be doing that, because we've got to take these people out. I think you've got to have a strategy, though, and not having one points up the ineptitude of this administration.
Now they're threatening the life of a British captive now.
I think Charlie's correct in his approach. We have to be cautious about it. I think the president is overseas just for that very purpose, to try to rev up our NATO allies. We also have the problem with Putin and Ukraine looming. There are multiple threats. Just want to raise the point, the piece of history. World War I started with the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, the murder of himself and his wife. This could be a tinderbox which could lead to another world conflagration because ISIS is in several countries. I mean, this has to be approached carefully, but I think Charlie's right. We need our allies. We need to put up a united front, and it starts with measured response. We've used the term now today, asymmetrical warfare. Massive force isn't going to really cut it. We tried that once already in Iraq, and we couldn't defeat all of the rebels. We need to take surgical strikes. Air power is one. Delta Force, other kinds of hand-to-hand combat, I think will bear fruit.
Isn't the problem, though, is ISIS is so big?
Well, they got so big,
but they're also spread very thinly.
They are, but they're well-financed, which is one thing that terrorist groups have not historically been in terms of being able to move the financing around the way ISIS is. They occupy territory. They've got hardware. They've got software. It's a very dangerous threat to the United States at this point. The one thing I think Tony and I have agreed on up until now is we have to be very cautious about the just interests of the United States in that region, which aren't always so obvious and apparent as they are now. I mean, this makes the blood boil of every single American, and it ought to. These people are horrible.
All right. We're going to leave it there. We ran out of time, but guys, thank you for your opinion on that, and of course, we'll see you next week, and we can discuss more. And you can catch our political insiders every Tuesday on CBS 21 News at 5:30.